Okay, in the last video we had put this main tube on, and we'd added one of these tubes here. I went ahead and added the second one. It's rotated at the same angle, it's just opposite side. Now we're going to need to notch these tubes because I am going to insert this, let's see, it's that part right there. And when we fit tubes together, we're not just going to butt flat tubes up against one another. So when I put this tube in here, I want it to fit into that notch so it'll be nice and tight and structurally sound. So I went ahead and notched that one so you can see it's actually horizontal to like these tubes here. So the challenge is, how do we put this on those rotated tubes? I'll show you how to do that. So let's open up that file for that too. Now remember, it's on the long end. The short end is mated to that first tube. So I need to put a notch in here, but it's rotated at a 35-degree angle. Remember the 35-degree angle. So I'm going to need, let's see, we're going to need some planes here. Let's look at, oops, let's turn that one on. We need a plane that's rotated 35 degrees here, but remember I need an axis. I think I already have one, yeah. If you don't have an axis, all you got to do is go up here, axis, and then click the tube, and it'll put a center axis on it. So I'm going to rotate this by 35 degrees. Now you're not sure which direction, just do it, and if you have to, just come in and edit it. So we'll go to Reference Geometry, Plane. First selection is the plane. Second selection, second reference is going to be that axis. And again, the software flips to perpendicular, but you want to change it to angle, and it's 35 because that's the last angle I did. Now the question is that the right rotation? And I think it is, but oops, I think it is. If not, again, it's easy to edit. You just have to come back to the part, edit it, and then like here where it says plane 7, right click, edit, and just say flip the offset and go the other way. So if this isn't right, no big deal. Okay, so I need to, let's turn that one off, get it out of the way. I'm going to need to sketch on that. Control 8. And I just want to put a notch in there. And in my case, now the notch is just a solid. In my case, it's a 2-inch diameter because that's my tube is 2-inch. You don't have to make it hollow. In fact, don't make it hollow. It'll do something weird. And now we just want to go to Extrude Cut and make sure that you do through all in both directions. And there's my notch at an angle. Now let's go, let me save that. Let's go to our assembly, update it. And yeah, it looks like we got it. So we got it in there. If we don't, again, just go back and edit that. It's super easy to edit that plane. So if you missed it, no big deal. Don't worry about it. You're going to waste a bunch of time. Okay, so we've got that part of the frame. Now I want to mate this part to here. Now the easy mate, of course, is just to that surface, to that notched surface. Say okay. Let's see what we have here. So it's made it that way, but nothing else. So we got a lot more stuff to do. So that's where work planes are going to come in. So let's open up this. If you right click, open the part. Now let's open that part up. And let's turn some planes on here. Let's turn that one on, and then the mid plane one is the one I want. You can see now the method to my madness here. That's why I build my parts around the mid plane. So you always have those as reference points. You don't have to guess about that. Back to our assembly. And let's see here, there we go. And that's fine. the challenge I have is I gotta have something to mate this to. Now the weird thing here is because these tubes are rotated. So if I turn on, like let's turn that plane on right there. Go back to our assembly. To bump it sometimes to get it to show. There we go. See, it's that angle. That's not going to do me any good. That angle doesn't help me. I'm going to hide that one. But what I can do is I've got this one. Let's see, I can use that mid plane off of there, and I can also use that front plane. Back to my assembly. Let's get those to show up. There we go. So I can constrain, so I can mate, for example, that to that. That's good. And now this one's, I would tell you to do is try to rotate this a little bit closer to the final position, because otherwise it may flip it around backwards. So let's just get it closer. Let's do this plane to this plane, but we need it to be, make sure it's parallel. Just choose parallel. Say OK. Now we're all locked in there, right? What else? Oh, I know what else. So let me turn some of these off. I don't like to leave all these planes active. Now you'll notice there's a couple of ways. What I've been doing is opening up the parts again. You don't really have to do that. That may be kind of clunky for you. What you can do is, oops, I'm going to leave that one on. Just come over here and for the part, so for example, for that tube, if you open up the arrow, you'll see the planes are all right there for that part as well. So you can just do it. That's actually a quicker way to do it. All right, now on my frame, I also have an angled piece that's like for the back of the seat. So it's sort of like a little roll bar. And I want to add that piece. I called it the seat bar. Now, I didn't put numbers on my parts. I apologize. Put numbers on your parts. Let's rotate that. Keep going. Okay, that's good. So if you'll notice what I did here was I notched this tube so that it can sit at an angle coming off of here. Let's open that up. Oops. So how did I notch those on that angle? Let me show you how to do that. So, well, let's first always go back to my original planes. It's definitely, they're always there waiting for you. So that's an easy way to work. And I'm going to turn them all on. Again, build your part around the mid plane. So what I need to do is have an axis to rotate on the face. Now it's not going to be linear to the tube, it's going to be across the tube. The easiest way to get an axis is to have two planes intersecting, or let's see, I can just click on that surface, and that's going to be, oops, I don't know what I just did. Yeah, let's just do a plane, and it's going to be this way. How long is that tube? 8 inches. Ha, guessed right. Okay. I'll just be consistent with that. Let me hide that one. I don't need it. Okay, so to create an axis, go up here, click on axis, and click on these two planes. You'll see in a minute. Click on that plane and that plane. And where they intersect, see that yellow line? That's the axis that I want. Remember, whenever you want a plane on an angle, you need an axis to rotate it around. Let's hide that. Okay, got it. So I'm going to tilt this plane basically to get that notch. So my two choices, the plane, the axis, go to angle here, and this one, let's do a 45 on that. Let's see, I'm going to flip it just because just the way my brain works, that just makes more sense for me to slide this up so it's where I want it to be. I got to be in control here. Let me hide this, don't need it. I'm going to leave that on there. You'll see why shortly. Okay, so let's do a sketch on that plane, Control 8. And it doesn't matter which side, so I'm going to draw a circle. Make sure you get it on the center. There we go. And again, in my case, it's a 2-inch diameter circle. There we go. Finish the sketch. Let's take a look at it. So see my angle there. So now when I go to extrude cut, choose that. Make sure again you go through all in both directions. You're going to get that beautiful angled notch, which is going to fit your tubing together perfectly. And that's what we have to have. You can't just take this and try to somehow magically weld it onto that other piece of tubing at an angle. It would be impossible. Now I could go through that for the other side, or smart move here is just use mirror. Face plane would be that mid plane. Feature to mirror is going to be the notch, which shows up in yellow. And there we go. Hide this. I'm done with that. I'm going to leave that mid plane on there. Ooh, actually, I'm leaving that angle. I'm going to need that when I go to mate it. Okay, so there's that piece. Go back to your assembly. And now what I want to do is mate it on here. So I can do that surface to that tube. There we go. Now, because not valid. I don't know what that means. Let's see. All right, that's fine. Let me try that again. Before I do that, sorry, I'm not trying to make you seasick. Let's I thought I had my planes on there. Where's that part? Okay, I was clicking on the wrong part. So we've got our planes here. I do, oh shoot, I want that mid plane on that, or mid plane on that. Remember, I need a reference there. Oops, wrong part. There we go. Because I was try mating. Let me just center this up from there to there. Now, if you try to mate, like with the spacing here, if you try to mate both like that surface to that one and that to that, you're probably going to get an error. So if it's not, everything isn't perfect to the 9th decimal place, and that's why it's really smart to use your mid planes. The other thing I need is a plane, somewhere to locate that. I've got it centrally located, but what about side to side? So let's put a plane on here, and I'll probably will work off of this tube. So these are all going to, very shortly, they all become very interconnected because of the way you've got them mated. So I need a vertical, I need that plane right there. Now there's multiple ways to get there. Okay, so what I want is a plane out on here. So let's just go to reference geometry. I'm gonna click on that plane and I'm gonna put it out somewhere where I want that tube, and I don't know what that number is. That's too far. It's like gonna be behind, oops, behind the seat kind of thing. I'm way too far out. Let's try it right there. So now let's see what happens if we mate this plane to that plane. Oops. Oh, shoot, it worked. Okay. I got too impatient. That plane to that plane. Give it a second. There we go. That's looking pretty good. I've got my angle. I do need to now set it down. Wow, I got a lot of planes on there. Let me just turn some of this stuff off. And axes. All right, I just have to set that down on there. I don't know why I got that error before, but I think that was just a glitch there. Oops. From there onto the surface of that tube. There we go. Yeah, that shouldn't, there's no reason for that to create an error. So there we go. I've got that resting on there. And if I decide, once I place my seat in there, if I decide, just hide that I want more or less space, all I got to do is edit that location of that plane. Which plane was that? Plane 10. All I'd have to do is go in. So let me go over here to plane 10, right click, edit the feature. And now I decided, nope, I want that to be 5 inches, just 5. The plane will shift. The part that's mated to it will shift with it. Now, if you have to force an update, just come over here and click on that. It should do it automatically. So that's easy to edit. Everything so far, I could change every single piece of this pretty easy by using parametrics. Let's see here. I think I'm going to pause here for the second video, and I'll pick it up on the next one.